Town Council. Our first order of business is the pledge to the flag. Please rise and join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And tonight's meeting, as you can see on the agenda, item 2 is the discussion regarding FY 2020 to 2021 budgets of the human services and outside agencies. Do you want to set us up first, Rob?
Pretty quick here tonight. Just to put folks on the map with regard to where we are in the budget process, we are where the arrow is. We're at the second work session. There is one more work session scheduled after this. The council is scheduled to consider and preliminarily adopt a budget on the 23rd of March. There will then be a public hearing. Those dates are actually in flux. We're trying to move those dates. We're checking with the state to make sure that that's not going to cause us a problem on the state end. But we're anticipating those meetings will actually be April 6th and 7th. Not this 15th and 16th. So tonight, we really have two objectives. It's an overview of the Human Services and Outside Agency grant program, and then to hear from the agencies about their requests. We will also hear from the public. Just an overview of where we are in the proposed budget. The proposed budget has $36,120 in proposed support for agencies. That's the Rhode Island League of Cities celebrations, the three parades, Union and Kingston Fire District, and the SK Partnership for Prevention. Those match out. The requests are equal to the proposed budget. On the uncommitted, these are the competitive discussion-oriented grants. We have a proposed amount of $120,450, and we have requests for $123,950, just the way things fell out this year. We have $9,500 worth of new proposals. So the requests above the proposed amount at this point are $13,400. And the detail is in the section of the budget that deals with this. With that, I'm going to suggest we jump right in and talk to the folks in the list. I am working from a different list on the slides, but we've got a slide deck that'll bring everybody up.
Oh, let's go by your slide deck then.
Okay. So is someone from the fire district here? All right. So for the council's information, this is both an old and a new request in a sense. Last year the council approved, and for several years now, the council has approved $5,400 for support to the firehouses directly. In consultation with the fire chiefs, this year we're proposing $10,000 be put into a central scholarship fund. So we're looking at an increase there in $4,000, what is it, $5,400, $600.
Good evening. Steve Pinch, Chief of the Union Fire District. We have had discussions about this, and we feel that the money that we've been getting from the town, we appreciate. It goes to the fire stations currently to help them buy some comforts to make them comfortable to hopefully they stay at the station more. However, in recruitment and retention, we feel that a scholarship program would be more beneficial. It's a reason for people to join, it's a reason people to stay, and it also can benefit children of firefighters to get their education and help pay the high cost of that. So we feel this would be a great benefit to the district as far as recruiting and retaining firefighters.
I'd also thank Councilman DeCruz for initiating this effort. The scholarships, I think, is a much better use of the funding. We've had good success with tuition reimbursement, and in the days of, current times that we live in with the cost of education, anything we can do to help folks is a thing and a good way to say thank you.
Any questions for Jeez. All right. Thank you very much for coming. I think everybody agrees up here that it's probably very useful.
Thanks for your time.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody from South Kingstown Village Trust? Okay, so I'll describe this. This is actually a new request. The request is for $3,000. The Village Trust is a group that was established about a year ago, folks who had previously been involved with Preserve Wakefield. The Village Trust's mission is to help sustain the quality of life and the character of the villages, plural, Wakefield and all of the other villages in South Kingstown. We've spoken to Murray Gates, who's the I don't know what his title is, president of the association, and they're interested in doing a revolving loan fund for historic preservation. So what they're trying to do is set up a private fund that will allow owners of buildings to come borrow money to do preservation at a low interest rate and then pay the money back into the fund so it becomes a self-perpetuating fund. Revolving loan funds are popular and they've been effective around the country in historic preservation. They need some seed money to start writing grant applications and getting out there and trying to make this idea work. It's an idea that we on the town side have also heard about from many people, and we've been trying to figure out how we could do this. We don't want to do it in-house because who wants to be running a loan program out of a government office? Actually there are some that do that, but we're not interested in doing that. So this is a timely proposal from the folks at the Village Trust, and again, the detail is available, and we'll make sure that you have all the information you need. And our first not new request is South County History. Oh, I take it back. This is actually a new request, isn't it? It is a new request. This is our second fully new request and our third new request.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Joanne Mellish. I live at 84 Lake Street. I'm a South Kingstown resident and the chair of the Board of Trustees of South County History Center, which was until 2016 better known as Pettaquamscut Historical Society, which a lot of people couldn't pronounce and sounded snooty, and so we are South County History Center. I want to talk just for a minute, because I'm not sure everybody knows who we are, and then talk about the request. So we are up at the old jail, Washington County Jail. We have a professional staff, an executive director, and a collections manager who are both trained in their fields. We have a 7-member board of trustees, 5 of whom, including me, are South Kingstown residents. A 6th was a South Kingstown resident until fairly recently, and the last was born here, and using bad judgment, I feel, moved away. But he's close by. He's just not a South Kingstown resident anymore. Our purpose is to collect and preserve documents and artifacts associated with the local history of South Kingstown and South County, very heavily focused on South Kingstown. We have about 70,000 documents. We have 1,000 volumes, 3,000 artifacts. We are interested in encouraging research, individual and institutional research on this local history, and we serve as an educational resource by presenting programs and exhibits that make this history available to the public. That sounds sort of arcane and distant. What are we doing here? What are the kinds of things, when we say serving the public, we think of ourselves as a human service agency. We are serving the public. Wakefield walking tours, South Kingstown High School students and local residents. We supported by maps and photographs from our collection. We host a 3rd grade class researching some aspect of our local history and the dioramas from that. Some of them are in this town hall. That's from that process. They go through documents and learn about history. We provided information for the Johnny Cake Center. about the old school building on Kersey Road that they're moving into, and more importantly, we have, and they are accessing a wealth of information about how this town has dealt with impoverished residents in the past. What has South Kingstown done about poverty? Well, there's a whole history, and we have it. We have a collection. I'm excited about this. I'm a historian of African America and Native America. We have a collection of 40 years of photographs of South Kingstown taken by Kenneth Mars. Some of you will remember Ken Mars, who spent 40 years, Narragansett Indian, son of the longtime pastor of Peacedale Church, Peacedale Church of God. He spent 40 years walking around South Kingstown taking photographs. We have, in this collection, more than 25,000 photographs, and I am delighted to say this is the largest collection of vernacular photography by a person of color in the United States, and it's here. And we have made an exhibit. Our exhibit traveled around South Kingstown. You may have seen it. We're hoping to, and more broadly, it traveled a bit in the rest of South County and up at the State House in Providence. And we are raising money otherwise to organize and give more public access to that. And as you probably know, we recently completed the updated National Historic Register materials for the Wakefield Historic District, which was a paid contract. We have about 500 people a year who come into the center to look at materials or call and ask for information or access the website. What are we asking for support for? We are asking for support from the town to organize our very large collection of records of the town of South Kingstown, from the town of South Kingstown. What do I mean by that? We have all of the World War II service records for every town resident who served in World War II in a batch. We have all of the enrollment records for South Kingstown School Department. We have records from the construction of the town farm. We had a town farm. We have all of the complaint reports from the South Kingstown Police Department, an interesting collection in and of itself. And we have a lot of other things. If this collection were organized and put together properly, it would represent about 39 linear feet of file boxes. At present, these records are not usable, and they're not accessible to townspeople. They're not accessible to us in any way to allow us to make an exhibit out of them, to show them to the public, to create interpret them, create a story of what this town was and how it has managed these important things. We can't do much with them. It will cost $6,500 to organize, catalog, rehouse in archival quality storage materials. Can't just stick this stuff in file folders, it falls apart. And document these items in our collections management database and create an online accessible finding aid so that the public can go in there and find, I don't know, where can they come and see Uncle Henry's service record from World War II? That altogether costs about $1,000 for materials and $5,500 for staffing. It's very staff intensive to organize this stuff in a reasonable way. So that is what we are asking for. We hope you will provide some funding for this. We will do it someday, I hope, but we have no money. As you know, among other things, the jail is a money sink. I mean, we are constantly repairing something. It's a historic building. So the HVAC screws up, the mice come in, we get rid of them. I mean, it's hard maintaining that building and our staff. So that's what we would like from you, is some help in doing this and making it accessible. Thank you. Questions?
Quick question. How do you store the material? Meaning, we're going to archive the material. What's your plan for storage in terms of like fire and things like that?
Oh, we have very recently, with other grant money, increased our archival storage area We have, we have a fire alarm, we're HVAC, we have humidity control, we have environmental control for the materials. All of our materials are in archival storage boxes. I mean, we can't afford a safe big enough for 70,000 documents, but the building is wired. Every time a squirrel crosses the electric wires outside, one of us gets a phone call from the fire department because there's, it has set off an alarm. We have all kinds of alarms. It's a pretty secure system.
Thank you.
I have a question, Ms. Mellish. Is it your opinion that this will be a one-time ask, and that should be enough to do your...
That's a one-time, sure, it's a one-time ask for this. Now, should it be the case that someone suddenly donates, I don't know, some archive that has something to do with very important South Kingstown history that should be accessible to students and residents, we could come back. But this is one thing we want to do. We can do it with $6,500, and you won't hear from us on this matter again until we invite you to come and use it.
I might need you to protect some of those police records for me. I'll let you know.
Very interesting stuff.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rob, the previous one, can you go back to that? I just had a quick question. So they're looking for seed money to hopefully get grants, but it doesn't mean they're going to get grants.
They're looking for the money to make grant applications.
Right. Okay.
That's correct.
All right, I just wanted to clarify that.
Yep.
Hello, my name is Joe Tomchek. I'm the Assistant Executive Director for the Boys and Girls Club of Newport. Thank you first for your support in funding the initiative with the money that you provided last year. We were able to serve a total of 136 unique participants. As you know, our mission is to inspire and enable youth, especially those who need us most, to become responsible, productive citizens. And we're proud to say that those 136 unique participants participated in our Camp Grosvenor program that we're able to offer at in the school year at the Curtis Middle School, and currently we're still operating at the Guild since this September. We overall had great success in the program. We've been engaging with a wide range of partners and running programming that aligns with our goals, which are academic success, character and leadership development, and healthy lifestyles. We've been engaging URI very much so in the programs with the kids, getting them to both the campus and then bringing them to the Guild on a regular basis. We've been doing a dance program, a theater program. We've been working with the woodworking program at the Guild, a cooking program, Rock Spa Gym. We've invested heavily in a team building program, Project Adventure, URI boxing, Uhuru Sasso, Rowdy Ridiculousness, which is an improv group from URI, and a sewing program. The intention that we have with the Boys and Girls Club and working here is to give kids experiences and opportunities that we don't think they would have any other place. And over the course of the year, we've been seeing a pretty consistent group of kids. Since September, working at the Guild, we've seen about 42 youth that have engaged a minimum of 30 days or more. And that's not to mention the wide range of 86 different youth who participate in our Camp Grover programs alone, and many who are eager to come back and work with us again this year. So our request is primarily to keep the program going as much as we possibly can. Obviously, you know that we're looking to create a more permanent presence in the community, and we've put in a request to make that happen. Until then, we still want to make sure that we have our presence here. This program costs much more than we're getting, and so we're looking to increase the funds a minimal amount, but hopefully you see the value.
Are you still paying rent at the Guild?
We are paying rent, yes. It's approximately $4,800.
Other questions for the boys and girls? So I recall that part of the discussion, I think before when we were talking about potentially making space at South Road School was maybe that this money would no longer be necessary because it's not is covering. I don't know. Was that part of that discussion? I can't remember.
So I believe that the part of the conversation was there would be a cost incurred for us being able to use the school, but until there's a commitment and we know whether or not we're going to have that as an opportunity, we just are continuing with the sort of request that we had last year. Hopefully that goes through, and should that be possible, we would love to be able to see an offset of those costs. And I really think that's up to everyone here to determine whether or not that's an option.
Has much progress been made on around the South Road School?
So, excuse me, the status of the South Road School investigation is not changed since the last time I told the council, which is we've run the numbers on what it costs to have the building vacant, and it's somewhere in the neighborhood of $50,000 to $60,000 to have the building unoccupied. If we were to, and that's just to have the building heated and lighted and just kept in a ready-to-use state. If we were to maintain a janitorial service for the building, the cost is up to about $85,000. What we don't know, and what I'm waiting for still, is what the cost of the building cold would be if we were to drain the pipes, shut the electricity off, and literally just shut it down and not have it be ready to use immediately. I'm still waiting on that number because the delta there is an important thing for us to know. If it's $50,000 occupied or $50,000 vacant, then fully vacant, fully shut down, mothballed, then there's no cost to having it occupied. I don't believe that that's going to be the case. I think that heating and lighting and having the building ready to use is going to be substantially more than if we were to drain the pipes and shut off the services.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How you doing? Good to see everybody. My name is Jesse Pugh, and I'm here as a board member for Kane Child Development Center. I've been on the board for about 6 years. Both of my daughters went to Kane, and I stayed on the board. Lisa, the director of the facility, couldn't make it tonight. She's at a professional development class, so she sends her apologies, but I'm here to request the $9,000, which is, I believe, the same amount as last year, and I'm not sure how far back that amount goes, but I know they've been receiving funds from the town for quite a while. For anyone who's not familiar, Kane was established back in 1962. It's a nonprofit, and they serve between 30 and 35 families a year. They really provide a racially and economically diverse environment for children in town, which I think is really valuable, especially in South County here. What else can I tell you? The money from last year was used to repair the roof as well as the furnace, and the money this year would be used to actually repair the damage from the roof issue, which would be the ceiling in one of the rooms as well as the flooring. And they'd also, if there was enough, they would also use it for some of the front entrance. And what else can I say? We have a staff of eight members, or 8 teachers at Kane. We do accept state assistance for low-income families, and we actually have the lowest rates in town. So one of the missions of Kane is to keep it affordable. So, when that's your goal, there's always going to be financial issues, and, you got to kind of balance it out. So the money really is important, and we appreciate, any consideration. It's really big for the facility, so thank you. And I'm happy to answer any questions that I can.
Just have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Your children come from what communities?
So my kids we live in Narragansett.
Well, the Kane services.
Kane, yeah, mostly South Kingstown. There are, I believe, 5 children from Narragansett, and then there was a couple out in Richmond, but the majority are by far South Kingstown. But I can tell you about my kids as well if you're interested.
Did they go to Kane?
They did go to Kane, yeah.
Fair enough.
I just want to comment that I had a wonderful experience at Kane with one of my foster daughters, and Lisa does a great job there. And I think what's lost a little bit in the name is that that acronym means something, and I always kind of forget what it means, but
I could tell you.
if you don't mind.
Sure. So the acronym is Citizens to Advance Negro Education.
Right.
So, the term, definitely an older term, but it gets the point across of why Kane was established. So actually a little bit of history there. So it was established by Stuart Taylor, who graduated from URI. Established it in '62 for a concern about the education of minority members of society. So he established Kane to provide scholarships for minorities to attend institutions of higher learning. So that is still very, relevant to the way that Kane is run today. And like I said, the diversity there is something that I value, especially in towns that have kind of a, lower percentage of a minority population. So it's good to have that, exposure and experience for the kids.
And just for everyone, it's located behind the adult senior daycare. Yeah.
That's right. Cool.
All right. Any further questions?
Good. All right. Thank you
Very
all.
much, Jesse.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll need this high, I need this low. Good evening, my name is Kim Stack, and I'm the chair of the board of directors for the Southern Rhode Island Chamber of Commerce. This is a request that's probably familiar to you. This is something that we have asked for in the past as well. As you know, the Chamber is a space that unites our business community with local issues, and it helps to support everything that these local business partners are trying to accomplish in this area. Majority of our member businesses are from the Southern Rhode Island area. The funding goes to support a few different initiatives. One is to offset programs like our gift certificate program, our holiday lights that we post up, the reusable bag program since we no longer have plastic bags in the area, and additional hours so that we can have support tourism in the area and be here for our local visitors. Anything you want to add? Great. We're here to answer any questions for you.
What is the amount? Because I don't have it in front of me.
9,000.
Okay.
9,000.
Any other questions? All right, you guys.
Great,
are
we
very
really
familiar
appreciate your
to us,
time.
so thank you for coming.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mary Rhoda, and I've been the Executive Director of the Domestic Violence Resource Center for a really, really, really long time. So I've been here many, many times and here again to ask for your support. This year in particular, we're asking for your support to help with our helpline, which is usually our first contact with people who are victims of domestic violence seeking our services. Our mission is to eliminate the future of domestic violence. This year we served 100 clients, or 16% of the people we served were from South Kingstown.
Any questions for me?
You guys do great work.
Thank you very much.
For all you do.
Thank you. Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for seeing us tonight. My name is Jason Colonies. I'm the new Executive Director of the Education Exchange. We've been in business for 40 years. First of all, thank you for helping us out every year. It's been great. We specialize in adult education, so we have programs like the GED, which is the high school equivalency, adult basic education. We do the National External Diploma, which is if you want to get a real high school diploma, you can get it from Central Falls. It goes through our programming. We have English as a second language, which we usually do just in our facility in Peacedale, but we've just recently started a class at URI too, which is great. We do some job training programs. So we do aquaculture training, which is oyster farmers. We train oyster farmers. We do culinary training, and we do front of the house training, so waitress training, bartender training. And we also offer ServSafe certificates. All of that training is paid training, which is great opportunity for folks. And this year we're going to try, or we have a deadline for September to put our GED programming online. And that's what we're concentrating on right now. So we're filming segments, we're putting them up online, we're going through a program called Teachables, and that's where this funding is going to be concentrated on, which will open opportunities for people with transportation issues, health issues. It also helps scaffold our individualized education goals. So we're an open enrollment program, so people can come in at all different levels throughout the year, and we can guide them through these various segments. Any questions?
How many people do you guys help in the community?
This last year we did 128 South Kingstown residents.
And is the aquaculture program still one of your, I guess, most popular programs, or?
So each training program, we bring in 11 students. So our biggest programming is the GED. That's why we're trying to get that one up online. The aquaculture is our most popular one with the state right now, definitely. And it's a great program. We also have an apprenticeship program that we're running side by side with it. So we have a year-long apprenticeship program going on with that, which is VA approved. So VAs can veterans can come in and use their 9/11 benefits for that.
You guys are still located at the lily pads?
We're at lily pads, and we just got a new landlord.
Any other questions? Very good. Well, welcome. This is your first year here, so look forward to seeing you next year as well.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Good evening. My name is Kate Brewster. I'm the Executive Director of the Johnny Cake Center. I want to thank you not only for supporting the center, but also for supporting all of our colleagues who are here tonight, who we count on and collaborate closely with. I'm going to just speak briefly to our request for funds. We have requested $30,000 to primarily support our school vacation meals program, and virtually every dollar is used to actually purchase food, with the exception of a small amount that goes to help with the operations of the pantry. Many of you know that we have no open meal site for kids during school vacation, and the center has really played a central role in making sure that local kids are fed when they can't count on school for breakfast and lunch. Every week we provide 5 days worth of breakfast and lunch items, which includes milk, eggs, bread, cereal, you name it, we give it out. Last year we provided enough food for 19,700 of those meals. We saw an average of about 150 kids every week that we were operating the program. We also worked with a pediatric nutritionist who helped us improve the menu to include more whole grains and healthy snacks, proteins, and the like. I just want to mention that we did survey the families that we served last April and at the end of August, and asked them how important is this program to helping to feed your kids when school is out. And 88% and 84% of those households said it ranked as a 9 or a 10 on a scale out of 0 to 10. So clearly it's really important to local families. We believe it's a reasonable investment for the town to make to ensure that kids are not experiencing hunger when school is out. We know that kids do so much better in life when they're healthy, not hungry, and we really, really do appreciate your support for this. So thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Kate?
Thanks.
Thank you, Kate.
name is Susan Jakewith. I am president of the board of directors for Neighbors Helping Neighbors Rhode Island. I first want to thank you for your support the past 3 years. For those that don't know us, we're a 501c3. We provide free home repairs for low-income residents of South County, and South Kingstown is one of the 8 towns that we serve. We qualify people based on HUD guidelines for low income. This year we spent $11,500 on South Kingstown homes. Our mission is to try to prevent homelessness. There are so many people that are so close to losing their home that when we can come in and do work, we keep them in their home, which is very important to us for their sense of dignity as well as the home. We are 100% volunteer. We don't have a paid staff or even a paid executive director. We don't have an office. The reason I'm saying this is that you know that every dollar goes to a project out in the field. When we need licensed contractors and don't have the volunteers with those necessary skills, we hire contractors and we work hard to get them on board with our mission, and we get some, very nice contractors that sometimes will donate time. We pay for all the materials. I'm here asking again for your support. It's hard to ask when you hear how many things are going on, but we spent the $11,000, and since this application, we just put another roof on a South Kingstown home, and that was about $3,200. So I guess we are asking for $1,000 again this year, if you can support us. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
All right.
Thank you very much for your work.
Welcome. Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Richard Grant. I'm president of the Narrow River Preservation Association, and I just want to tell you that 50 years ago, the people of Saunderstown and Narragansett and North Kingstown got together and formed an organization, Narrow River Preservation Association, NRPA for short. And the idea was to have a tri-town conglomerates. And as time went on, it grew and grew. Our first activity, raising money, we took in $183, and the board wondered where they were going to spend it. And today, our budget is $71,000 a year, and what we wonder is where we're going to get it. And so we have a road race, and we have a swim, and we have a paddle, and we have a membership drive, and we go to different people, and we hope that we could raise that money. It just so happens that the idea of a tri-town committee, because of economics, has just dissipated. And so I'm here this evening to put us back into more of a tri-town conglomerate that's involved with the environment. And sure, we're one of the strongest watersheds in the state. We belong to the Rhode Island Foundation. We belong to the Rhode Island Council of Rivers and that type of thing. And so we're okay. We're strong. We've won national awards. We've won local awards just the other day from the Chamber of Commerce of Narragansett. And so we're just a very strong organization, but just the idea of having the 3 towns work together, it's almost symbolic in a way. It just means that we're all working together. And let me just talk a little bit about what we are. We research, we collaborate, we advocate, and then I'll say, who is Narrow River? But with Watch, Narrow River started in 1970 and was developed into a River Watch program testing the water quality in the river in collaboration with the URI Watershed Watch program. We now have 28 years of water quality data that informs our efforts to correct problems and keep the river as clean as possible. We collaborate. Since 1970, NRPA has worked with local, state, and federal nonprofit and private partners to care for the environment of the Narrow River watershed. NRPA was instrumental in writing the Narrow River Special Area Management Plan. And I'll just say that when the DEM wanted to write about a program that they have to write about every 10 years, 10 years ago they used Narrow River as a prototype. And 2 years ago, they came to Narrow River and spent time with us and became the prototype. And I tried to read it the other day, but it was 250 pages long with photographs and data, and I haven't had a chance to proof it yet, but it's thick. And it just means that NRPA really gets involved with everything a watershed should get involved in. We get involved in educating, the fourth grade, where we just having a fundraising drive for a CAD/CAM camera to be in the nest that we just built a little while ago. So the fourth graders in the whole area, the whole state actually, can watch the osprey or track them from the Amazon up to Narrow River. Sure, that's a little bit out of the water testing area, but it's educating the public is an important criteria for a successful operation. Let me just see where I left off. NRPA partnered with U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and I use that one example because we planted, let's put it this way, we asked the residents, 3,300 residents, and Friends of Narrow River to help us plant 70,000 seedlings. And we accomplished that in record time for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife. So we're an element that we live off our strength. We advocate. NRPA makes proactive recommendations on land protection, housing development, storm water treatment, and urban sprawl issues to local authorities. We do programs that help the people in the watershed. We now have a tide gauge at Middle Bridge so that the people enjoying the river will know exactly what the tide is. Possibly that'll grow to 2 locations. And just the other day, we came up with the idea of measuring the depth of the water that's going to rise. And people should know exactly what's going on. So we'll be in touch with a satellite company and talking about that. And of course, every one of these programs costs money. And I'll kind of conclude, my 5 minutes is probably up, so I'll conclude that it would really be nice if the 3 towns could work together. We get money from North Kingstown, mainly by helping to keep the water clean there in the North Pond, because they use it for drinking water. And so we're somewhat responsible for that, not solely, but we have worked and invested money in helping the legal fees to buy the land in like 7 farms, 225 acres. Well, that's what helped in that situation. In other situations, we work with each town about the sewers that are going in. We work with the planning of how are we going to stop the water from flowing into the river directly. It's just great to work with a town that supports us. And so we put blinders on, and we work with all 3 towns. Now, we got support from you last year, and we thank you very much for it. And based on what I'm telling you this evening about the 48 years that I've been on board and president for the last 37, that it's just that the strength of the organization is moving forward on land, water, and education. I brought along Ken McShane tonight. He's the treasurer of NRPA, and I think he's been on board how many years? 24. It's not unusual for somebody to be on the board for 20 years. And all I can say about that, because I've heard it from other people, is that if you don't have a good organization, and a strong organization, and a growing organization, then people will leave. But if you're serving the community, then it certainly keeps people on the board. And so thank you very much. I just wanted to give you a little history. I'm not going to go into how important the river is in the science field and historical and all the stuff you can read about on narrowriver.org. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak, and if there's any questions, I brought Ken along tonight, and I just wanted to have somebody here that if you really have a financial question of something like where are you going to get the $5,000 to meet your budget, well, we're working on it. Thank you.
Questions? Thank you. No questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is anybody from Swell here?
It's like sitting in the bus station watching for your number to come up. Thank you for your past support. My name is Deb Tanner. I'm the executive director. This will actually be, like Mary said, years and years, my 20th year at Southern Rhode Island Volunteers. I didn't expect to be there that long. When you join an organization at this level, usually you think you're going to be there 6, 7 years, make a difference to the degree you can, and be gone. I didn't realize it would become a passion and a lifelong passion for me. The bulk of what we do is serve our senior citizens. I'm now one of those people who's eligible for our services. Some folks talked about URI, and I wanted to share the origins of our organization after hearing that tonight. In 1979, a West Kingston resident, which is where I live as well, wrote a thesis from URI as to seniors having skill sets, but there being no place for them to serve and use those skill sets anymore. That became the birth of Seniors Helping Others. In a small little room in the Kingston Congregational Church with 36 people began what is today an organization of 402 volunteers. Those people began to serve their peers. The signature program of our organization is what you folks helped to fund. That's our independent aging program. We don't create programs year after year and run after money. We have 3 programs: independent aging, volunteer resources, and disaster preparedness. Disaster preparedness, you have a brochure on that. We don't do that for everybody. We serve 12 towns. Our disaster preparedness program, we work with Craig and Scott here in South Kingstown and Narragansett. It's been our privilege to staff the shelters when we've had crises in our towns. We only do that program in this concentrated area, and we do receive some federal funding for that, so we do not ask for support of that program. We train the volunteers year after year with them for that program. Our volunteers are deployed anywhere within the 12 southern communities of Rhode Island. Here in South Kingstown, we have about 90 volunteers, and last year we served 233 seniors. The bulk of those seniors receive transportation. We have a town bus, so we don't do the same thing the town bus does. We provide transportation to healthcare providers, medical, dental therapies, whether it be cancer, oncology therapy, cardiac, whatever it is. And the doctor or medical office can be anywhere in the state of Rhode Island. It's really hard for our residents to get a ride up to Providence, and especially our veterans going to the VA. And I have a soft spot for veterans, being that my husband served in the Navy. So if we can't find a volunteer, I will drive them myself up to the VA hospital. We transport Monday through Friday to any medical office in Rhode Island, to any grocery store in the local area, to pharmacies, to food pantries, to farmers markets. Here, Kate mentioned collaborations. We provide 7 volunteers that deliver the food from our local food pantry to seniors. They go Fridays, and each person that gets the food gets it like once a month from the food pantry. They put together whoever's going to get the food, and then the volunteers go there and deliver the food. We also provide delivery, which is really important because some seniors are homebound. So we manage the Meals on Wheels program for the towns of South Kingstown and Narragansett in collaborations with Meals on Wheels of Rhode Island. The food is created by a catering company, comes out of Massachusetts, gets delivered to us over at the center, and then we make sure the temperature's appropriate. I am food safety certified. We make sure the temperature's appropriate, that all the food's there, that it's what it's supposed to be, and then the volunteers take it out and deliver it to their homes or to our senior housing. We also will deliver groceries. We have, I think it's 18 people. 33 we take to the grocery store, and 18 who cannot go themselves. They maybe can't pick up the grocery bags, they're too heavy, or they can't walk around the store. So we will go do the grocery shopping and bring that home to them. This year, knock on wood, we haven't had to shovel any walkways for anybody. We still have a month or so. We're hoping there's going to be no snow. That can be a little bit labor intensive. We work with some URI students and young folks to do some of those things. We do offer community service opportunities to our teens and whatnot. So for Meals on Wheels, we deliver to 34 South Kingstown residents for that right now, which is about 8,955 meals within a year's time for them. The meals come down pre-chilled so that they can take care of them, cooking them whenever they want. We have a window of 4 hours in which they have to get delivered to them. The most thing that's requested is the transportation. It's not adequate. It's not good enough. If you're someone who's worried about being well and you're in your 70s and you can't get to the doctor because you can't drive anymore, it doesn't matter if the doctor's only a mile down the road. And the RIPTA bus stops, when's the last time you saw somebody walking out there with a walker trying to get down the side streets here to get to a bus stop? And MTM, I know that the state provides that. I know that it's a useful service. I know that some of the folks that we talk to, it doesn't seem to work for them for whatever reason. So I think that it's a stopgap for those people who fall through the cracks. And you may look at that amount of money and think that's not a lot of money. But that grant allows us to leverage funds, bigger funds, that help a lot of people. So it's like that grant really is important from that vein, because when we go to the Kimball Foundation and say, look, South Kingstown cares about their seniors, that makes a difference to them. So that's why that grant is really important to our seniors. I hope that I'll be back next year, but we are in a transitioning period for SRIV, so I'll only be here for a couple more years. I hope that you will continue to support Southern Rhode Island Volunteers and the needs of our seniors. As I get older, I'm going to need those rides to the doctors, and I thank you for your support. Do you have any questions for me?
Thank you very much.
This is Kevin Sullivan. He's the chair of our board of directors.
Good evening, and thank you for your support. So I have a little different hat on tonight, and Deb's very, very nervous because she's seen me in action, and I don't understand her nervousness, but so I'll just say that I am a big proponent of volunteerism. Since I retired almost 9 years ago, I've been doing quite a bit of it, and I'm on the VA voluntary service up in Providence, and I drive vets from South County. I've been working with Deb and her group for the last, 5 or 6 years. I've been on the board. I'm on the board now again, but always as a volunteer. And I do Meals on Wheels and Johnny Cake and transport, and I see firsthand what the needs and what the beneficial effect are. So for whatever support you're able to provide, we're most grateful, and we do leverage it. And as you may imagine, I'm kind of a numbers and documentation guy. So several of our local business owners whom I'm friends with, I put the arm on them a lot. And when I give to charities, I basically look at their percentage of funding that goes towards program support and not administrative costs, not fundraising and all that, right, and retreats. So I had to run some numbers to justify the friends who are like me, and I'm going to say we were 93 to 95%. So of every dollar that comes in, you know the math. So it's not spent on that, and so that's the number side. Documentation. I'm just going to read a couple of things to you real quick now. So this is from your document. I believe you prepared this town budget thing, and on page 11.4, we're in 101, and we fall under account 81,000, an outside agency, right? So right in the introduction of your on your paper, under functions, first sentence, the town is dedicated to the well-being of its residents, makes every effort to ensure that basic needs are being met, particularly for those who are low income, elderly, and or living with disabilities. Contributions provided to the human service agencies represent the town's efforts to support organizations that provide a wide range of services to our local residents. Beginning the next paragraph says, towns also strives to support local outside agencies that work toward the betterment of the community, often with limited funding support. So if you just keep those words in mind, from our website at Southern Rhode Island Volunteers, our purpose, and I say SRIV, we provide meaningful, dedicated support for volunteers. We enhance and encourage volunteerism, not only by providing the structure and the infrastructure for them to perform, but also by promoting it and trying to lead by example. So we provide volunteers throughout the southern third of Rhode Island, South County, and South Kingstown is a huge part of our client base. We provide quality, meaningful, and appropriate service opportunities to the citizens of this area. So if a citizen wants to volunteer, whatever their age, there's like a teenage program, seniors. Sadly, I'm a senior, but I don't always act like one. But I mean, the opportunity is there. In addition to the delivery and stuff, I'm a member of CERT, the Citizens Emergency Response. And number 3, the real one that fits into this category, we provide helpful health care, access, nutrition support, and alleviation of isolation services to elderly individuals and other adults in need of independent aging help to meet the goals of aging in place. So that's our purpose and function and mission, and it ties in well with your stated purpose. So hope you can see your way clear. And sorry for beating up on you last night. Forgive me for that. And give us a little help.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm James Kern. I'm the Assistant Director of the Welcome House of South County. And just to give a background on our goal and what we do at the Welcome House, the Welcome House's goal is to provide housing, shelter, and services to the community's homeless population. That includes South Kingstown and Rhode Island as a whole. In order to fulfill that goal, we run a few programs through the Welcome House. 3 of them are under the same roof. Right on North Road, we have a full-time shelter program and an emergency winter shelter program. So the full-time shelter program, we have a 3-month window that we give homeless or individuals experiencing homelessness. And in that 3-month window, we provide any sorts of services that they need, whether that's achieving an income, getting a job, or any type of DHS or Social Security, anything along those lines, any medical appointments that they may need access to or they may need to be connected with, and as well as case management, just overall case management. The second program that we run is the Winter Emergency Shelter programs, and that's just run through November through April. And that is if it is cold out and one of our local individuals experiencing homelessness needs shelter for that night, they just show up at our doorstep, and if we have space, then we're going to do our best to give them somewhere warm to sleep for the night. The third program is a soup kitchen that we run every weekday, except for holidays, but more recently we've been running them on holidays as well. And that is open to the public. We see predominantly South Kingstown residents, and then our individuals in the shelter take advantage of that program. And then our last sort of way that we try to end homelessness in our community is we have transitional and permanent housing all in the area, and that is aimed at both families and individuals experiencing homelessness. So for this grant, we are asking for help in paying for insurance, utilities, program supplies, and client assistance. For insurance, that covers that covers property insurance on both our shelter and our transitional apartments. For utilities, that can run anything from shelter utilities to utilities that are included in our transitional tenants' monthly rent. They don't have to pay electric or heat or water or anything. We cover that. And then program supplies and client assistance, that ranges from food for the soup kitchen or food for the house, and then client assistance is rides either to doctor's appointments or rides to essentially anything, any type of assistance that a resident or a transitional tenant may need. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
So the request this year has gone up by $2,500 to $20,000. Is there anything specific that the increase is going towards, or?
So this is my first year at our organization, but from what I understand, last year we applied for this grant to cover insurance, taxes, and utilities. So we've added program supplies and client assistance to that, need. We've noticed an increase in the need for supplies, whether it's food or anything else, any clothes, any medications. If it's not covered by insurance, then we've had a significant rise in things along those lines.
I think from my memory from last year, it was that even though you're a nonprofit, some of your properties are on the tax roll. I believe some of the apartments, et cetera.
Yes.
So it was to help offset that. The other thing I wanted to just ask a question, because you said something that kind of struck me a little bit. You said when it's cold, people can come to the shelter. They show up if you can provide them with a safe, warm place. You do that. What happens when you can't?
We collaborate, and Kate from the Johnny Cake is one of our, I'd say, close allies or close collaborators. We have in the past used her ability or her connections with local hotels to put them up for one night. We also have kind of an emergency reserve agreement with the Peacedale Congregational Church that if we need to, they have a group of volunteers and they can open up 2 rooms in the basement of their church if we have an abundance of people show up on that particular night. We can call them and they'll help us out. We haven't had that happen. While we are full right now, we've been kind of consistently right on that 17-bed line. So we haven't had to use those emergency resources very much.
Thank you.
And I just have a question. So in the November to April program, are you frequently at capacity, or how frequently are you at capacity?
In the beginning of, so November, December, we really weren't at capacity, and then since, I'd say, January, we've been close to or at capacity. Tonight, we are at capacity. We're at 6. I'm sorry, 6 men and 2 women, so it's 8 total.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Ken Tetzner. I'm the president of the Wakefield Village Association. We're asking for level funding this year, $5,000 grant. Right now, we're in the works with Gravelly Hill landscape design, and we requested plan put together for Main Street improvements, kind of a phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Right now, we just added. After a meeting the other day, we asked her if she'd also look into the back parking lot, the town parking lot, to see what we could do there. There's some low-hanging fruit items that the WVA, in coordination with the town, we're thinking in the future could do improvements. But this is also a good tool to use when the Rhode Island Commerce has their Main Street grants that we've applied for in the past. I don't think we gave them all the information they needed. This would be a great tool based on conversations we had with them. So we're at about $4,000 right now. We've committed to that. On top of that, we do the Christmas lights on Main Street. That's about $5,000. And the river fire, the boat, just maintaining all that in the events that we put out. We also were very proactive about fundraising. This is probably about 8% of our budget. We have no paid employees. We're all volunteers. We also try to help maintain Main Street. I know before each event, we've had people go out there, weed whack under all the trees, so downtown looks good to all the guests that we have coming for our events. That's about where we are. Any questions? No? All right. Thank you.
Last but certainly not least, the VFW.
Hi, Joe Patrick, Tiger Patrick, commander of the VFW across the street. I didn't think I was going to be coming here, to be honest. We didn't plan on having to come to ask for help again this year, but certain things have happened that really kind of exasperated our situation. So here I am again, hat in hand. Last year we raised $18,000 for our first phase of our renovation over at the Post. Of that, South Kingston provided $5,000, Narragansett $10,000, and Sue Susnowski was able to secure $3,000 out of the blue from funds that were returned back to the Senate fund. She was able to allocate that to us. We had to use it in the month of July. By the end of July, we had to justify it. Of that money, 85% was used buying product or the actual materials for the repair and the renovation. We had overwhelmingly support from various contractors and carpenter unions. Sabri Rama, Rama Electric, donated his time and all of the electrical stuff and his team 2 different times to our Post to update us. It was overwhelming and very humbling, but we got more bang for the buck. And so the only money that was spent to pay for someone was for the contractor who had to pull the permit to keep us kosher here with the town, but also to make sure we were up to spec for the handicap bathroom and access, which we are now. The second phase, which we're about to kick off of the renovation, is the upstairs. We have 2 floors. Downstairs is done, with the exception of a little bit of touch-up stuff that even I can do, and I'll get to that. We need to replace the entire floor. Upstairs, the place was built in 1931, and we had a leaky a roof that leaked on it for years, and the floor buckled. And we stopped all of the leaking and all of that, just the floor needs to get replaced. Narragansett has already given us, we believe, enough to be able to do that. And what I'm here today for is assistance in getting a stair lift for our Post. I think most of you have walked through the Post, so the stairwell is pretty aggressive. It's 1 step down from it actually being a ladder kind of a deal. And so we have more members of our Post are over the age of 70 than there are members under the age of 50. And I can think of about 12 members who cannot navigate those stairs. And so we have turned to the point where we have our meetings now downstairs so that we can use the bathroom. And the incident that happened is we had a meeting, another veteran group was meeting, and someone who couldn't navigate the chairs needed to use the bathroom really bad. And so we brought a truck up to the front, went out the door, went around the back, and used the bathroom, and then went back up to the meeting. It took like a half hour. But that just it was like a back burner issue kind of a thing, but when you see it and you need it, it will be utilized. We have the Vietnam Veterans Association, South County, 230, I think is their number. They meet there. They're all in their 70s. And so I'm almost 70 now, but I'm one of the young guys. And so we are getting younger. We're having a really successful recruiting. Just last month, we brought in 10 new members, 8 of which are South Kingstown residents. So our Post membership, we're at 113 now. It's 53 members are from South Kingstown, 17 Narragansett, 7 Charlestown, 8 from North Kingstown, and 18 are snowbirds, and I think most of them were SK residents at some time and come back up and just to go to Papa's Bread and Carrie's, over the weekend kind of a thing. So I need about $6,000. That I've gotten 2 bids so far, and I have Acorn stair lift coming on Friday. And both the earlier 2 bids were $5,800, and the other one was like $62. So that's the number that I'm asking for today. I understand that there are other organizations that are in need of support and all of that. I'd like to think that we are as well. And you're getting really good bang for the buck. The impact we're having on our town is tenfold what we were, even as recently as a couple years ago. I talked with Sue Susnowski about 10 minutes before coming here, and tomorrow on the floor, the Senate floor, the Senate's going to pass Purple Heart Highway, or the trail. And so Carol McEntee is taking it out of committee on Thursday, so I'll be up at the State House the next few days. But Purple Hearts are coming out of the woodwork, which I hope they would, just in this initiative, just through social media. And so we're doing really good things. And the last thing I'll bring up before I bring up questions is we started a visit by the VA Veteran Service Officer every month would come to meet with local veterans and family members of veterans to talk about claims and how to navigate the very complex VA system, everything from education to vocational to medical. And we've had 52 veteran or veteran family members receive a visit over the last, just since August. And what that really means is they have, the VSO is like an advocate, so it's not just like a one-time visit. You fill out paperwork, and then you get a thing in the mail and a check from the VA. It's calls weekly, bi-weekly, through the whole process between the advocate and the veteran or the veteran family member. I'll just tell you a real quick story. We had a resident, a young woman, single mom, who's she needed help, and so she had a young daughter who was in one of the elementary schools that teaches Spanish as part of the immersion program. She came to us needing help. She's a widow. Her husband had 2 deployments while he was in, and when he got out on a medical retirement, full PTSD 100%, and they decided to stay where he was stationed to be close to the facility he was comfortable with in receiving his counseling and his services. And he was shot and killed by another service member who was PTSD. She became a widow. She came back here and was lost. And we got her to the VSO after she had already tried to do it herself. And our VSO, it's about 2 months ago now, had just informed me last week that she's starting to get services. And the big thing is that she will be getting some back pay. And so that may be able to allow her to come back. She couldn't afford to live here. She had to move to Providence. And so our outreach is more than just a couple of vets having a beer watching the Red Sox game or something like that. We're not a social club or quarters anymore. We don't rent. Everything is all about the veteran or veteran families and how to make their lives better. And so this is just another small spot. It would be great to be able to have meetings upstairs in the more formal area. I realize we just changed the name of our post to William G. Fournier, one of the Congressional Medal of Honor recipients from our town. And we're planning to have a big shindig, open house and all of that once all this renovation is done. And our Congressman Langevin, he can't really navigate. He's got to go downstairs around to the whole back just because he's in a wheelchair. And so that's our last piece, and I apologize, kind of the 11th hour, coming at you with hat in hand, but here I am. So, does anybody have any questions?
No apologies necessary. You're not late. You're right on time. So
I wore my good jeans too.
Any questions for Tiger?
Just a quick comment. I remember that staircase. I think we carried something up or down.
Yeah.
Pretty difficult. The other thing I wanted to say, though, which I think is making a really significant impact, is the whole VSO program that you guys started. That's touching so many lives because
it's great.
It is not easy for some people to get to Providence, and bringing those services in once a month, people can go there and ask questions, get assistance, and my hope is that more veteran services are brought down to this area.
It's intimidating for many. It's hard for many veterans to go hat in hand to ask for help or assistance. We've removed the barrier or the excuse that many of them have had. I can't go all the way up to Providence. I don't know where I'm going to park, and all these other. And the VA hospital, it's like a little beehive there, and it can be overwhelming, especially for some folks who have some issues with being in crowded places or something like that. But we have the private little area for them to meet. In fact, the demand has gone up so much that now we have 2 VSOs who are attending the visits monthly now instead of just 1. And so that's huge. So it's just really, I love getting the calls from a vet saying thank you so much, or getting a little card from an elderly gentleman thanking us for all that we're doing because they can see what we're doing. And we're being impactful in our community again. We used to be one of the primary places, social event places and all of that, but now we're really focusing on the brand that is the Washington County Veteran Resource Center. And so we have 4 military units or veteran organizations that call that 155 High Street home, and we're hoping to keep growing. And so it is getting used, and again, all the money is going directly to the product or the renovation and not, to some slush fund or to pay for somebody to do a service. It's all being volunteered pretty much. Thank you.
So there was that organization called Swell, I believe, SK Wellness. Anybody come in late?
Yeah, it is.
So, Amy Reiner, Director of Administrative Services. So, as you may know, the Partnership for Prevention is in their 10th year of the DFC grant-funded timeframe. They are in the process of rebranding to Swell in order to continue to contribute prevention and wellness programming to the community. They are one of the organizations as the partnership who the council has granted funding to in the past, but does not require to come to this meeting to speak on behalf of their request. Moving forward, as the DFC program is ending, next year will be their first year truly wearing just the Swell hat. Instead of this year, they're kind of wearing both. So they will be following the formal process of applying and coming to the meetings. I just didn't want you to think they didn't show up this evening.
What is our funding for them? What is the request?
$5,000 has been the past funding.
Thank you for that clarification. All right, any final thoughts on what we've heard tonight?
I have a thought. Budget season is difficult, and being on the council sometimes is difficult. But this happens to be one of the most rewarding parts, I think, for me, being able to help the outside agencies, because they all touch so many different people in different ways in the community. And at the end of the day, it's a good amount of money, but it really isn't a huge amount of money. But the money that we do support these organizations with goes a long way. And it's not only the money, but it's also the support, knowing that the town supports them.
That's right. Yes. So I want to thank all the organizations that came out tonight. Really fantastic work that you do in the community, of course. SK wouldn't be the town that it is without volunteers and organizations that care for the people. So thank you again for all you do. If there are any people who would like to make any public comments tonight, there is...
Just ask one question before we start. The Tri-Community Chamber Coalition...
So Tri-Community... now you've got me doing it. Tri-Community...
Action program, right?
Tri-County Action, yes.
Yeah, right.
Tri-County Community Action.
That's it.
Thank you. Is being treated this year, as we had discussed last year, as a pilot agreement. They have been taken off of the tax rolls to the tune of $24,000. They will be paying the balance of their bill, which I believe last year was $36,000.
When you say the balance, 36 was their bill, or
36 was their bill.
So they were paying about 12.
That's correct.
All right. Seeing no further comments, I think we will reconvene next week for more budget fun. And the time is about 7:55. Thank you all for coming.